Good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Jim Dickey back with you with today's edition of Web Weather. Of course, all about our front, our cold front that's marching towards us here as we speak. I'll put this into motion. The satellites and the surface features. Front just now marching its way toward the Big Bend. You can see the yellows, the blues bubbling up on here. A line of thunderstorms has formed along this front, and that is the line we'll be tracking as it spreads down along the Gulf Coast, going through the rest of the day. Of course, currently this morning we are dry. There's ABC 7 live Doppler radar. There's been a few pockets of rain like this here that's over Hendry County. Early this morning there was one that rolled through around midnight, another that I've been tracking as it moved in off the Gulf. Just a few showers there headed towards Clewiston, the only rain we're tracking for you right now. But there's sort of the main show. You can see for yourself, it's really two lines of rain right now. The individual cells are tracking to the north. The line itself, at least the north and east, the line itself is spreading to the south and east. This is where the front is. So we'll be watching these cells here. You know, there is a threat for a few spin-up tornadoes later on today in central Florida, and I would suspect if that's going to occur, it would be from these discrete cells that form up ahead of the main line. Something to watch for. Does not look to be much of a tornado threat at all for us locally here in southwest Florida, but there'll be some storms to track for you all the same, so let's go through this on our storm tracker model. There's 11 o'clock. The storm's still off to our north and west here. I do think as we get into the 12 noon, 1 o'clock time frame, now we're tracking those first few cells, those first few downpours and storms starting to move their way in here. Arriving first, DeSoto County, Charlotte County, northern Lee County, and then tracking south and eastward from there. By 2 and 3 o'clock, the storms are spreading through Lee County. By 4 and 5 o'clock, downpours and storms tracking through Collier County. By 6, 6:30, and 7 o'clock, rain over and done with. Northwest winds take over. And really, it's just one burst of rainfall, I think, here today. For any given location, the line moves in. You get soaking rainfall, a heavy burst of rainfall for about 30 to 40 minutes tops. And then the rain winds down and moves out. Now, of note, as things have come together today, the Storm Prediction Center has seen evidence enough to expand the marginal risk area southward. Basically, the Storm Prediction Center puts out their threat levels in 5 different categories, going from level 1 or marginal to level 5 or high. So we're in that lowest threat level for severe storms from the Storm Prediction Center, basically saying a storm or two could push towards what is considered severe. In this case, that would be strong, potentially damaging winds. We'd be talking specifically 60-mile-per-hour winds or so. I'm going to keep that threat low. I just don't see much evidence right now to suggest the storms that head in here will bring winds to that level, but I could certainly see wind gusts 40, 45, 50 miles per hour in a few of the stronger storms. So it's something we'll be watching for. And of course, if any warnings are put out, we're going to jump on air and bring those warnings to you as we track those storms heading in. Brief heavy rainfall, yeah, the main threat here, occasional lightning. There's not a ton of instability for this to work with as it moves in. So in general, storms should be well behaved other than a few producing those heavier, stronger wind gusts. Flooding not going to be an issue here. This moves through too quickly to see really any significant rain totals. This is the latest run of that storm tracker model I just showed you. It's actually backed off on the rain totals even further, showing most spots below 1/4 inch of rain. I think that's how things are going to play out with this one as it moves its way through. A quick burst of rainfall, but nothing that would cause any type of flooding. Now, even outside of the rain and the storms, the winds are going to be strong. We're talking winds picking up sustained even after the front passes by to 15 to 20 miles per hour. You can add 10 on top of these numbers to get the frequent gusts we'll be seeing starting later this morning, lasting through the evening into the overnight. So that's why, we're seeing these storms potentially producing some stronger wind gusts. There's some even stronger winds than this aloft. Some of the storms will try to mix down. And once the storms move out, the front moves out, the winds shift out of the north and west, and we cool things down quickly. You can already see the cooler air moving in on our temperature tracker by the time we get to 3 o'clock. The front at this point on our model is moving along the Caloosahatchee. The warm and humid air is still very much in place in Collier County, Hendry County, where temperatures in the 80s. But it's 10 degrees colder into Arcadia. Not every afternoon you see a 10-degree temperature spread from north to south across the Gulf Coast here by the time we get to 3 o'clock. But that's what we'll have with this front moving through and physically bringing in that chillier air. Cool air arrives in Collier County by 7 o'clock. We're already in the low 60s in Arcadia and Punta Gorda. Most spots didn't fall below the 70-degree mark early this morning. So this will be a rare day where we see our minimum temperature, our low temperature for the 24-hour stretch here today occur into the evening hours. Usually that low temperature is reached right at sunrise. Not today, as we're bringing in that much colder air, and you see how chilly it gets. By sunrise tomorrow morning, 40s just about everywhere, and those streamlines mark the winds. Still a 10-mile-per-hour plus wind out there. That's going to make it feel like, especially in spots like Arcadia, like Punta Gorda, like LaBelle, it's going to bring our wind chill values down into the 30s. So tomorrow morning, a morning to bring those heavy coats back out. You'll need them. The good news is this is a short-lived little cold spell. Yeah, Thursday morning in the 40s. By Friday morning, we jump back to the low 50s, so noticeably warmer. Still chilly, but warmer. And then by the weekend, we're basically back to where we were before this front came through. So about a 24-hour period of chilly weather behind this front, and then we warm things up in time for the weekend. I'll be tracking it all for you. The rain, the threat for storms, and the chilly air heading in coming up in just a couple of minutes on More in the Morning at 9 on ABC 7. Hope to see you then.